This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.
Down here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval for the derby between Fremantle.
We're down here at
Fremantle Oval of this women's WAFL season. Round 11, South Fremantle versus East Fremantle.
Go again, Rich.
Down here at Fremantle Oval, South Fremantle and East Fremantle, our match for broadcast, the derby between the two arch rivals. The Bulldogs still looking for their first win in their WAFL women's career. East Fremantle haven't had the greatest of seasons either, just the 2 wins so far, so in desperate need of a victory here today, the Sharks, to keep themselves in touch with the top 4 and see if they can sneak up on Subiaco, who currently sit in that 4th position. The Bulldogs, they've been chipping away, improving all the time. East Fremantle, as I mentioned, it's probably the biggest struggle they've had in a long time in State League footy, but they've got a couple of big names out here today. Gabby O'Sullivan and Roxy Rue in particular will keep a close watch on as they look to find some of their better form perhaps and see if they can fire up towards the finals coming up in a month or two's time. There's the Bulldogs just about to prepare to get themselves into position to get started. It's a big game, always is when South Fremantle and East Fremantle do battle at any level of football, so the Bulldogs would love nothing more than to chalk up their first ever victory against their arch rivals. That's our match here today down at Fremantle Oval. Here on Mother's Day, have a great day, all the mums out there watching. Sharks and Bulldogs coming up very soon.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
My box is on.
Here at Fremantle Oval, there is East Fremantle as they're getting themselves ready. Dave Lindsay alongside Clint Degarot. A few little technical hitches up here at the moment. I'm not sure whether Deg's microphone is working just yet. We'll give it a crack.
Welcome.
Hopefully that's working for you. It's the Bulldogs to do battle with the Sharks, and both of these sides have had a very challenging first 2/3 of the season, Degs, but if there's ever a match that the Bulldogs would like to win, particularly for their first win ever in their club history at WAFLW level, this would be the one.
Yeah, the derby's obviously very important to South Fremantle and East Fremantle, and to start your first, I guess it's your first victory altogether in the WAFLW against East Fremantle, the old rival. That'd be a great first win. Very close last week against Subiaco before fading late in the last quarter, much the same as the first time they met Subiaco. So they've got close a couple of times. Mim Strom powering through the centre of the ground. She just goes past Marnie Alston there in the middle. So she adds a bit of strength and a bit of height to the team today. But East Fremantle pretty strong. Philippa Seth too, we haven't mentioned, joins in the team today. It's going to be South Fremantle with their hands full, I think. Hopefully both teams just throw the defence away altogether and just attack each other.
Be interesting to see how they use Mim Strom. She's going to start at centre half forward, which is good for her development, I'm sure. And they do have a few tall players out there, the Bulldogs, who could take care of the ruck. So one of those is Ella Ward, who you can see in there preparing for this opening bounce against Marnie Alston.
So she found
The umpire has the ball aloft. The siren with a bit of a half-hearted effort. There it is. Get ourselves started here in round 11 of the WAFLW. These two sides met once earlier this season. It was a comfortable win to the Sharks, but the Bulldogs are the first team to crack it inside 50. They might get a stoppage inside the arc as well. As Strom backs away, she might take this one, although Lauren Wackfer wants to overrule her. She'll take it. So Wackfer in the ruck, palming it down towards Strom. Couldn't quite connect. Ward was there. Overruns the football. Nice body work from Wong. Just open up a path for Seth. Couldn't get boot to ball. Wong came a second time. Now Templeman for South Fremantle towards Ward. Needs someone to be clean with the football. Paisley Prentice was good enough to pick it up, but also couldn't really get much on the kick. Good tackle from Tahaka Reiner. Wrapped up Gomes well. The umpire watches on and will call the ball up. Michaela Tahaka Reiner. We're looking forward to seeing her put the Jets on today, Degs, and see whether she can just put on a show for us with her speed.
There she goes, bursts through, just fumble, allows Gomes to come back into the game. Gomes has had a second attempt to not get rid of this football disciplined approach to ball security. Gabby says we'll have another throw up. I'm told about Ward early. It's Alston this time, hands down. Hobbling around again, Alston.
So ball here for East Fremantle through O'Sullivan. Now O'Sullivan puts it into some space. Broadcast side wing for Seth. And then Seth measures the pass towards half forward, but it's intercepted. That's a fine piece of work from the Bulldogs in defence. The mark was taken and then a hurry kick forward there from Casey Byrne. Great work in the marking contest. Need a little bit more composure on the kick, but she's back in again after looked as though it was Holtz who was thrown to ground. And Byrne's happy to see that ball over the boundary in a restart on this broadcast side wing. Boundary umpire will bring the ball back inside the 10 metres. And his throw-in should just about make it to the centre square. I think we're all sorted, Dex.
Well, I think a lot of people that know me well would like to be able to pull the microphone out from under me at different times, particularly late in the afternoons and evenings of weekends. That's a fantasy of many. Melanie Alston in the ruck against Ward. Ward, good body work, tries to take it out of there, can't. No clear kick out of this pack. And we've played a lot of football, Dave, just in this little part of the ground at the moment so far.
I think we've had the one inside 50 so far for the Bulldogs without any real possession up forward. Ward in the ruck, wins it down there. Happy to keep it in this phone box at the moment, both teams. Umpire watching on. There's not much attempt to get this ball out, and that's the way the umpire saw it as well. And Alston and Inglis Hodge doing the tackling in the end. Alston will take the free kick. Wants to kick it in the middle. Puts it into a good pair of hands in Rue. Great to see her out here in WAFLW action. Had such an impact in her first season. Kicked 18 goals. That kick didn't have the carry that her teammate in Chloe Riley was looking for, and Clarkson positioned herself well at the front. Takes the mark and then kicks towards Byrne, who misjudged that in the air. In comes Seth, applies a good tackle. Byrne needs to get this out. Eventually it does just pop out. Umpire lets them play. Clarkson in there again. Had the word from the coach that she's been in good form, and she started today okay. Although Riley gets a good ball inside 50, and Spark is able to take the mark. And she's normally a pretty reliable shot for goal, so we'll see if she's got the distance in her legs.
Generally a back Spark in the box because she doesn't let you down very often. Low possession getter, but high quality finisher. And she'll take a couple of catches today that no one expects her to take, and she's able to convert mostly.
A lot of football at this level. Stephanie Spark. We've been faced with this situation many times, and the kick looks very good off the boot, and the Sharks have the first. Took 4 minutes. It wasn't the prettiest bit of play until probably that last 30 seconds, Dex, where East Fremantle did have a little bit of system, and Spark on the end of it gives the Sharks the start they're looking for.
A couple of opportunities for the umpire to blow the whistle against Ashley Gomes early, eventually blowing it against South Fremantle once they sometimes get bored of the hold-up play and rightly so tend to move things forward, really benefiting East Fremantle. But Alston's kick to Roxanne Rue, very clever to open the ground up too, and the long ball in from Roxy always puts pressure on defenders. South Fremantle not able to get it out. Repeat entries in female footy, particularly in the WAFLW, very, very valuable. Sprilling in the middle now too, Alston up. Sprilling lurks behind this. It's Alston again. A couple of times she's been able to follow up and get a clearance off her own ruck tap work. Templeman flashes past, doesn't take the footy with her. In under now, South Fremantle going forward to Takarena. She takes off. She'll be too quick for Wong. Wong provides good pressure. Long ball in. Doesn't really favour anyone in particular. First to recover, Philippa Seth. No, that's actually Nadia Brown. She goes back towards Wong and Takarena. Takarena takes Wong off the footy. Flashing through. It's brilliant. Long ball down the line. The far side of the ground. No one's able to gather that one quickly. Maddie Ross present. Just harassing her opposition winger. She does so well. She's now wrapped up in 4 tackles. We've changed angles, or changed lanes at least, or suburbs, as Bo McDonald likes to say. We're in the same sort of meterage.
Maddie Ross with the long sleeves as well. Haven't seen too many long sleeves worn WAFLW level. The option's probably not there for many of the girls, but Maddie Ross has decided today's a good day for them. Off the ground goes Versace, who's lined up in defence in the first quarter. Cutting that one off was Dirk. High ball towards half forward. Seth couldn't take it. Chance here for the Bulldogs. Sweeping hand pass coming back. Giving them an opportunity to set up. That was from Huggett. South just not able to find any real system going forward just yet. Dirk there again. Kicks the torpedo off a step, and Rue floating in from the side. Did enough almost to be paid the mark. Good enough to recover anyway. And her kick to a 1-on-2. Chloe Riley beaten by a shocker of a bounce. It actually bounced far enough that it gave East Fremantle a chance, and comes through Sanders' hands. She gives a hand pass back inside looking for Brown. Seth is there to support as well. Brown happy to wrestle. We'll see a ball up on the wing. Sharks with the only goal of the game so far. 6.5 minutes gone in the first quarter. Normally have a bit of breeze down here, Dex, but looking at the flag on the scoreboard, there's just a zephyr going towards the left of screen.
It's not always warm here either, and it's lovely today. Fighting at half forward here for South Fremantle. It's Dirk. Told about her early, about her form. Adrian Ivanovic came through and said, have a look at her today. She's had 4 or 5 possessions. Really trying to drive the team forward. I think Reggie had said there's not much structure around the footy or system for South Fremantle at the moment. They are trying to surge the ball forward, pushing off and working back beautifully there. East Fremantle as they mount their exit again. Dragged down really late after the ball. Slammed down hard in the end. Relayed free kick in the hands of Riley. Efficient user. This no exception. She connects with Sprillian, who turns and goes. Got a bit of a dash. Made a name for herself at South Fremantle as a fast full forward. Tries for Spark. Just misses. Flashing in now is Brown. She goes through inside out. She's able to take a shot. It's going to just be a little bit shallow, but it's good signs from her, young player. Nadia Brown. Like that.
A bit of excitement there for the Sharks.
Good body work too by Sparks.
It's good to see some of these AFLW players coming back and playing a different role. Here's Mim Strom on a long lead from centre half forward to receive this kick in. Roxy Rue's playing on the ball, and Strom pretty much kicks it straight to her. Rue on the burst. We know what she's like in this situation. Draws the player well. Over to Ross. Strom did enough just to affect the kick. Gets it to full forward anyway. O'Sullivan playing her traditional role as the small forward, putting the pressure on and looking for goal scoring opportunities. Needs to get this one out towards her teammate. Good body work in there from Byrne. Just open a path for her Bulldog defenders. They can't quite escape. Inglis Hodge gives away the free kick just to hold on to the body of Ella Ward, who will get the free kick at half back. And South able to rebound. Short pass to Roden Zimdale. It wasn't short enough, and that will be punished. It'll be a free kick going the way of East Fremantle. Elle Sanders, we saw her play a game against Swans earlier this year, Dex, and she was pretty impressive.
Yeah, apart from the fact I think they've done us a bit of a favour today, East Fremantle, by moving Ulson into the ruck so we can tell the two apart. Really impressed with Sanders across a couple of games that I've watched her this year and last. Become a very good attacking, running defender. Unfortunately, kicking into Kiara Templeman. Kiz, tempo, young player from Bunbury. Been in love with the Bulldogs for a number of years now. Applying her work now at the league level, which is nice. Little palm forward from, looked like Prentice to Inglis Hodge. She coughs it up backwards towards her teammate, pushes the ball forward. It's Prentice. Running on is Gabby O'Sullivan. Long ball in for Sparks, really advantaging her. Casey Byrne will have to come off to effect. She can't. Terrible bounce. Allows the South Fremantle Bulldogs to mount an exit, and this is much tidier than the last one. Tracking the ball in front, looks like Roden Zimdale. Zimdale forward. Finds Kanikoza to Wakfa. Little loose handball to Templeman. She's taken over the line by that's not Steph Sparks. Who was that? Daniel Trippi. Physical player to a top of 50. Bit of a nothing entry. Nadia Brown. It's the ball kicked into her from Steph Spark. Questions been asked of the South Fremantle defenders now and done really well here. Carly Hunt's able to hold up. Well, at least a couple of thrusts forward. In fact, it's holding the ball. So Carly Hunt's better take the resultant free kick and find Spencer. Spencer's been a solid defender over her first 2 seasons of her game at league level as well.
Little short pass to Wakfa. Very promising, talented young ruck who's developing nicely, and that's an effective kick as well. Getting it forward to Holtz. She'll want to look to pop one over the top. Doesn't direct it particularly well. And O'Donnell just reading the play nicely, and they're set up quite well behind the ball here, East Fremantle. Well, that kick's intercepted, and here's Wakfa again. It's got better and better with each game in the State 19s program this year. Almost made herself the #1 ruck after starting as the support role. Free kick getting into the back of Phil Seth. And here's the switch for East Fremantle. There's plenty of space on that outer side, so the kick goes towards Gomes, who needs someone to present even further wide. Eventually Sprillian does. Gomes ignores that. It has opened up a path more centrally though. And Seth marks, and now the room is available for Sprillian. Gets a bit of support from Rue with a shepherd. Sprillian takes off. Wakfa watching it closely, closed well at the end. The kick, as a result, goes astray. South Fremantle able to hold things up. Higgins is in there. Now the tackle's applied on Spark, and we'll see a ball up. About 30 out from goal. We've just seen the 1 goal kicked so far. It's gone the way of the Sharks. 6.5 to go in the first quarter.
Pressure in there from Colwell, who now takes the ruck off hands. Obviously in the ruck, working hard at ground level. Bulldogs pushing and shoving, nicely done. Misses it by foot, I think, here, and it's holding the ball. Wearing jumper number 55. Doesn't appear on our team sheet. It could be Nikita Little. Hands off nicely to Gomes. Gomes will have a running shot. Not quite got the distance, nearly. Sanders in the goal square. The ball goes over the line and out of bounds in the forward pocket. A little messy from the Sharks. Ebony Clarkson on screen. A lot of footy for the Bulldogs at Rogers Cup level. Just finding her feet at league level. In form, we're told. Very to play with huge potential. Nice and tall and fast and kicks the ball well. Sanders. Pack goes past her. Falls to the Bulldogs again. Started to look okay with their attempts to remove themselves from their defensive 50. Big block from the East Fremantle players ensures a free kick. And I don't like when someone who doesn't go for the ball gets rewarded, but that is the rule. No, they've called Shepherd. Failed to keep that ball in play. Blocked instead of playing the footy. I don't mind that at all, Gabby. Boundary throw in. Nice big throw in. Holtz can't touch it, nor can Rue, though she's first onto it after the bounce. Rue's working hard. Beats a tackle from Roden Zimdale. Nice to see her back playing footy again. She's having to camp under it with Spencer, and she does very, very well to take that overhead. Not much movement sideways. It's going to force Spencer to go down the line. Does so. Can she find Huggett? Kosa tries to sneak in, but it's Seth. Seth gets it towards Ross. Hits it on the move really well. Wrapped up immediately by Clarkson. And Gabby will come in and throw this one up.
It's a tight contest inside the last 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Kanakosa.
We like her.
Young lady.
So here's Wong being hassled there by Shaq Pickett. Coming through Gomes. Floating hand pass puts a teammate under pressure. Bet is that young lady who fights on well. Huggett gets into her back. Umpire says it was all okay. Good use of the body there from the Bulldogs working underneath. Was Kanakosa. She'll go again. In fact, no, this is Pickett. They get it forward. Oh, clean bowls O'Donnell. Stockwell's out the back here. Just needs to be clean. She's very dangerous around goal. Probably rushed at a fraction. As a result, the kick goes right across the face into the pocket. If it goes out of bounds, it's not a bad result. She'll be first there, Stockwell. Slides in and does take it over. So a throw in deep in the right forward pocket. And I guess if you can't kick a goal from 40 out, it's probably the best thing to do, Diggs. Buy yourself some time and reset.
Definitely a shot from Poppy. There's no doubt about that. But I think she gave it up and then realised that she was going to be able to run both the East Fremantle defenders. It was nice to see her get there first. Throw in. Forward pocket for South Fremantle. They set up well behind the ball here, South Fremantle. Although Ruckman kicks it the wrong way. That's a defensive exit. A rebound 50, unfortunately, for South Fremantle. Falls in the hands of Gabby O'Sullivan. The last thing you want to do. But a bit of panic and a bit of pressure from the South Fremantle defenders just doesn't make that hurt as much as it might have. Gabby O'Sullivan in the ruck. I'm sure Trent Cooper would be ecstatic to see that. Spencer up against her. Now surges the ball forward. Trying to control the spaces, Kanakosa. She's first to recover. Long ball in, she fumbles and steps over it, finds a bit of space anyway. Pulls it towards her forward 50. Poppy stalks behind O'Donnell. O'Donnell to Seth. Some experience there, and she finds Wong ahead of the play.
So Sharon Wong, veteran of this East Fremantle side, has a runner going by, so decides to hand pass away to Seth. Had plenty of the football in defence. Looks to connect with Rue, who dives in low but couldn't wrap up the chest mark. Follows up well with a good tackle, supporting Wong in that one. Templeman gets it forward though for South, and O'Donnell again, who's onto this ball quickly. She started the game quite well deep in defence. Goes for a stroll across the face of goals and then uses it nicely. Gomes with the mark. She's got a player breaking on the wing. That's Alston. Kick misses her. Now Alston has to go and fetch it. Can't pick it up at the first or the second attempt. And now the Bulldogs through Ward, who's tackled. Holds up in that tackle. Spun around for a fair while. The umpires are definitely allowing the girls to play here today. Good tackle applied there from Kanakosa. And we'll see a ball up. So they've been consistent so far. They're not penalising too many players who go in there and want to pick up the footy. But at the moment, probably do with the old tackle.
Sullivan on the fly, wonderfully held up by Lauren Wackford, or she was free. Still finds Versace. Versace drops the ball over the back, well-weighted kick to Roxy Rowe, who looks like she's having a shot from 60 metres out. The long kick of the footy, Roxy, but I reckon 60's a bridge too far. Little short kick doesn't find Sparks, gives her a bit of a favour. Ricochets off Takarona's knees. She's able to clear the ball for the Bulldogs, maybe only as far as Trippy, who drops that ball behind the plate. Ricochets and rebounds and finds Seth. Seth's weighted ball trying to look after Wong. Wong's able to turn her opponent inside and feed it back to Seth. Seth can construct something off the outside of her right boot now. Falls really well for Riley, clean below her knees. She's good in this situation. Has a little finger on that ball from her 19's teammate Tuakarona, and the ball's now loose inside forward line. Pushing really hard here is brilliant, using her pace, and she pulls this one shallow. Also have to say apologies to Pickett, called her Kanakosa, but Shakira, you've darkened your hair. I just got you mixed up. Two ladies with lovely, long, flowing black hair for South Fremantle, obscuring the number.
She started quite well, Shaq Pickett.
She has. Good footballer, highly skilled.
Kick comes back in off the hands of both players here. Sprilling close to the line, wants to keep it alive. Why not when you've got Rue there? She floats a hand pass towards Spark. Drop the footy. Now she's got problems wrapped up by a couple of Bulldogs. And a ball up inside the last minute. So East Fremantle really with the last opportunity to score here. Spark will do the ruck work against Ward, who taps it boundary side. Brilliant. Just helped over the line. Another throw in front of the old Fremantle Footy Club rooms. No longer theirs. I think it's the town of Freo set up down there. So the clock continues to run. Boundary umpire very deliberately paces out 10 big steps. His work early has been very good. It's a good long throw again over the back of Ward. Knocking it forward for East Fremantle was Brown. Coming through is brilliant. Sold the dummy. Back onto her right boot. Kicks into a dangerous position. Rue just wants to knock it forward. Playing behind the ball and holding things up, Sheridan Cobbold. And that will be enough to see the end of the first quarter. East Fremantle took an opportunity early stages. Steph Spark with that goal. And that's really the only damage on the scoreboard either way so far. So a low-scoring first term between the bottom two sides, but it's the Sharks leading by 8 points at quarter time. 1-2-8 playing South Fremantle, who are still yet to score. You're watching the front row screens live stream of WAFLW action here on Sunday.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple. Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
We're down at the port for the derby between South Fremantle and East Fremantle inside the South Fremantle huddle here at quarter time. They're still looking for their first score of this match. They trail East Fremantle, who lead at 1-2-8 to no score at quarter time. Dave Lindsay and Clint Degerot, your commentary team here this afternoon. As we go inside the East Fremantle huddle, you can see Roxy Rue just looking on intently. These assistant coaches at East Fremantle, we've got to watch them. We've got to watch them, Degs. There's always something going on.
There is with Jenna Holmes. His body language is fantastic. You can see how happy she is with her team there, and you can also know when she's concerned. A couple of different tells that she has. As we see some highlights from quarter one. A bit of a defensive slug with a couple of times that East Fremantle had a break three, and you're watching Steph Sparks' goal, and the only goal of the quarter for belonged to East Fremantle and Steph Spark herself. It's a nice kick of the footy, and she is a nice kick of the footy. Split in the middle with that one. Nice to see a couple of players that are starting to come on. In terms of South Fremantle, some youngsters. There's a lot to like about Lauren Wakefar. There's a ton to like about Tuaka Rayner, but Carly Hunt's settled into this league side nicely, and I've liked my first look at Pierre Dirk as well. So plenty to go on. There's a couple of players out for South Fremantle today. Of course, Ashley Reedy-Knee-Little, or Little Knee Reedy, has been very, very important for the South Fremantle Football Club. And of course, Lucy Gilchrist has been super in her first year of WAFLW after a couple of years in the Perth Footy League for Curtin Wesley. I think she's a dual premiership player.
Two other big games being played today in the Waffle Women's. It's the top two at Bassendean Oval, and Swans lead Peel 2-3 to 1 behind. And the other game, Claremont and Subiaco, is 3rd versus 4. And Subi led at quarter time 1-3 to 5 behind. So the Tigers are a little bit wasteful. But Subiaco with the early lead there. And they need to pinch one somewhere, Subiaco, because at the moment all their better work's being done against East Fremantle and South Fremantle.
Yeah, that's right. It's a battle for fourth spot at the moment. It looks like it will be between Subiaco and East Fremantle. Although things can change fairly quickly. Subi pinch a win here against Claremont today, and they really do put the pressure on East Fremantle.
Which I think I tell a lie. I think the one time they did play East Fremantle absolutely smashed them. So that's one of the interesting things we've got to look forward to. There's still 2 more matchups between those 2 clubs. I think 2 more between Claremont and Peel as well, which would help to settle who finishes in the top 2.
One of those silly things in footy too is Claremont. Subiaco really do match up well on Claremont, and they match up on Claremont far better than they match up on East Fremantle. A couple of... Oh, that's right.
Seagulls are back today.
Last week.
It was Pigeons last week.
It was Pigeons last week. We were on the coast. It's not doing as much work as that Pigeon had done. We'll just see if one of the players is able to step on or near to one of our Seagulls today. The Pigeons last week featured prominently in a lot of stoppages.
Well, it was a brave Pigeon last week.
Coach Bo McDonald, Coach Bo McCormick there, just leading his charges through the last little piece after they've spoken with their line coaches and had their feedback. Poppy Stockwell can feature today. Doesn't exactly blow the GPS up, and as we explained to her, and she's actually said to me, I don't need to. I can kick 6 goals off about 600 metres. I'm a better player than most who need 3 to 4 kilometres to get their 6 or 7 shots. She just needs about 900 metres. So if they can give her some service today, within 30 or 40, she's a very damaging small forward. More likely
to score. Bit of media time lately for Pop as well. She's been talked up in the paper as a cricket potential superstar and also football as well.
Not only that, when you talk about the cricket superstar, it's are you a bat or are you a bowler or are you a keeper? I kind of do all of them. Not always in every game. She took the gloves off last year in the championships and bowled and took 2 for.
So there's a couple of good cricketers, because I noticed that Brianna Hyde, who is a very talented footballer, obviously, she made the WACA Team of the Year in the women's cricket this year. So
I think both her and her sister have a bit of a baseball background too, so that helps. I've seen photos of those guys as young baseballers. I think at state level, both of them. I think Michaela in particular was a handy baseballer. We've also seen Charlie Thomas from Subiaco having a hit up inside one of the 19s camps this year. She's pretty handy with the stick as well.
Yeah, I hope Bree's batting and bowling is better than her fielding, because what we saw on camp, she let herself down and she was very annoyed every time the ball hit the deck.
Hopefully
she's better than that normally.
Hopefully someone cuts this and gives that to her, because she'll enjoy a bit of a razz. Hopefully she's going over, and her and her sister are dominating over at Steel Blue Oval right now as we speak. As we're just about to start the second quarter of the Derby.
8 points is the lead to East Fremantle. They will attack the left of your screen towards the Parry Street end. The slightest of advantage with the breeze as O'Sullivan comes crashing through and gets a soccer kick away. Matty Ross has got rid of the long sleeve after 1 quarter. Couldn't take the football. Good lead and mark by Mim Strom. Will get South Fremantle up to the attacking 50. Roden Zimdale the target. Couldn't take the mark. She fights on well though. Caught in a good tackle. Good contest there, that little one-on-one. And we'll see the ball up. Might be Sky Prentice who applied that tackle. So Ward to do the ruck work against Alston. O'Sullivan on the fly again. Being watched closely there by Spencer. Spencer tackled and brought to ground. Umpire happy to call it a draw again. And we'll see another ball up right half forward for South Fremantle. Spencer taking a bit of time to get the mouth guard out. I think she might have forgotten during the break to put it back in. She doesn't mind getting involved in the physical stuff, and she's wrapped up again by Seth. And this ball going nowhere at the moment.
Finally, Alston pushes it towards, well, it's a back feed in the end that Spencer runs onto, tackling front on, and we're just piling on again, and that looks like Seth and Spencer, who are having a bit of a to-do. This time, Spencer takes the best because Philippa Seth's fallen on that ball, and the umpire's not satisfied that she moved that on, tried to move that on. Spencer, usually a good kick, should be able to find a connection on this one. She kicks the wrong side of the ball, the wrong part of the ball. It takes a big leg break towards the goals, but it's safetied by the East Fremantle defensive team, and that's a neat mark from Katie. No, it's Katie Ashton-Taylor. It's not Katie Ashton-Taylor. It's Kate Inglis-Hodge. Flies towards the middle of the ground again, losing her feet immediately was Vaughan Taylor, and the umpire will penalise her for holding the ball. Roxanne Root. In front of Ward. Been okay in the ruck today, Ward. Just having a look at what's ahead of her. Roxanne Root just plays on slowly, doesn't quite get the spin on it she wants. Sanders is good enough to actually flick that up by foot and catch it between her knees. Falls for Brown. In her way is Prentice. It's from... And we're just going to tie that up again. It wasn't Prentice at all. Do we have a number 16 for South Fremantle? My apologies. Ward in the ruck against Olsen, pushing and shoving. It's that towards Matty Ross, who tries to go through the stoppage. Can't quite get through. Falls in the hand of Gabby O'Sullivan. Puts it in the path of Wong. Coming up is Ward. Over the back is Rosie Walsh. And it trickles towards the line. Kept in by Wong in the end. Sling tackle. And Wong will take the shot. Sharon Wong. Prolific collector of the football. Not famed for her long kicking. She's probably too far out to score. She might be able to kick it far enough for a point, but she should be able to lift this into the goal square, and that's where Roxanne Roux is sitting. She has got the distance by going a little short and shallow. She's kicked a behind from the pocket.
So the Sharks again doing the attacking. South Fremantle haven't had too much game time forward of centre just yet. East Fremantle haven't really made them pay to this point. As the Bulldogs will bring it back in. In comes Chloe Riley, who did nicely. Sells the dummy to get around onto a right boot. Snaps goalward. It's a little bit out to the right. In fact, it's a lot out to the right in the end. And it's out of bounds on the full. Good defensive work there from Riley on the kick back into play. Intercepting in front of Vaughan Taylor. Now South Fremantle with another opportunity to bring the ball back into play. Rosie Walsh stands the mark. South Fremantle will go down the outer side, but it's a poor kick. There's a queue of Sharks just all waiting for this football. Mark wasn't taken by Rue. Wong now paddles towards O'Sullivan. Takes them on, hands it off towards Roxy, who tumbles at goalward. Walsh is there, brings it to ground. Swooping through was Brown. Couldn't take possession though. Now a quick snap from Ross, but she's away to the right. And East Fremantle with a couple of behinds to start this quarter. The guys on the scoreboard have just been snoozing a little bit during the break. It should be 1-4-10 on the scoreboard here. Our graphics are perfect. 10-zip the score just after the 4-minute mark of the second quarter.
Casey Byrne's going to exit to the far side again. She's done pretty well down there on the last line of defence, Casey Byrne, but her kick, like her previous kick, has been chopped off by East Fremantle in the hands of Philippa Seth. Plenty of bodies in front of this ball for East Fremantle and South Fremantle. She finds Gabby O'Sullivan with a neat little connect. And Gabby O'Sullivan, who is a good kick of the football, is going to take all of her length to score a goal from here. So let the umpire and her teammates know that she's going long. Such a professional player. Just finds ways to continue to improve constantly. Really confident approach, and last minute she lowers her eyes and hits Maddie Ross 30 metres out directly in front.
Be disappointing, wouldn't it, as a coach, to watch that happen? I mean, you were always going to question whether O'Sullivan had 45 metres in a leg, and Maddie Ross found 30 metres of space.
This will take a decent strike from Maddie Ross too. Very accurate short pass. She can kick this far, of course. She lifts this one up into the breeze, into the very slight breeze, and it drags across the face of the goal and registers one behind. In the hands of Casey Byrne again. We're interested to see if she goes to the same side of the ground again.
She runs out of the square, pokes it to the pocket, and used it quite well this time, finding her target in strong. Then kicks to a 2-on-2. I think the girls out there had a bit of problem with the sun as well. It was as much protecting their eyes from the sun as an awkward attempt to mark, I reckon, from the pack. Free kick picked out for some holding, and Alston will take it. And this ball just living in East Fremantle's half of the ground. It's pretty congested where Alston's looking to kick. In fact, she decides not to bomb away. Comes inside to Versace, who's playing off half-back today. Almost every player of the ground in front of her as she kicks towards O'Sullivan, who jumps very early, interfered with her opponent. And she looks stunned as she runs away. She's still stunned, and now trying to feign she's not sure which player she jumped in the back of, and delays a little bit of time, allows her teammates to man up while Huggett gets the free kick. She again goes towards the outer side, too much on it for her teammates. It goes out without anyone touching it. And Versace might have to jump over the fence here unless that ball's rolled back down the concrete bank. No, she's got to leap over. What are your thoughts of her lining up at half back? We've seen her through the midfield before, seen her up forward. Pretty versatile footballer.
I like her as a half forward, a high half forward. Today, not too much footy for her, you'd imagine. At half back, well, certainly hasn't had so far. She neat little connect with Philippa Seth. So 28 players ahead of play here. Goes over Rosie Walsh's head into the hands of the Bulldogs defenders. Surging that line again, jumping high and taking the mark this time. Ward is able to get a secure catch inside 50. And the next kick should give them a bit of a breath. It's a handball inside. A bit of run and carry. Short one's okay. Huggett actually carries over Huggett. I'm sure that was 100% effort there from Zoe Huggett, the skipper. And a couple of neat tackles. We'll see a ball up. Saatchi's got a smile on her face as she pretends to try to get the ball away. See the close up on the camera there. Just making sure that everyone knew what was going on. Alston hails a cab. Ward with the tap. Ball down. Pulled around the corner. Holtz into the path of Pickett. She's just trailing along at the moment. She does have some jets. She could have taken off then. I think that's players are starting to be really, I guess, careful about their ball movement now. South Fremantle a little nervous perhaps. Got a ball up in the centre of the ground on the far side for East Fremantle. Trying to get something creating here is, looks like there was that Holtz again. Holtz with an inside 50. No representation ahead of this footy except for the two that you see on screen. Troops now arrive. Huggett gives the slips inside and pulls the ball over towards Templeman. It's got some pace. 1-2. But the ball's going to roll through and Zoe Huggett's got a beauty. Was that Holtz from the stoppage? Long ball in towards Huggett. Huggett stepped inside and was able to pull the ball around the corner. Enough carry on that. Foot race was super from Templeman and Wong. Zoe Huggett's got her first. One goal straight South Fremantle. 1-5 East Fremantle.
Well, the Sharks had the ball for, what are we, we're 9 minutes into this quarter. I reckon for 8.5 minutes it was inside their attacking half. South managed to get it forward once and Huggett did enough. So for a goal apiece, it's just those 5 behinds that East Fremantle have kicked that separate the two teams.
How far out was Huggett then?
I reckon about 45 when she put boot to ball. Leading goal kicker for South this year. She's kicked 9 now.
Very strong player.
Kicked 2 against East Fremantle when they met earlier this year. Her best this season, 3 against Subiaco. Played every game.
A couple of years in the state 18s as well. A number of years ago.
Ward in the ruck nicely down towards Dirk. Had to huck it on her on the fly going past her. Just couldn't quite get the hand pass in her direction. Now East Fremantle through Gomes. Puts it out in front of O'Sullivan. Takes it in the one hand. Not her best kick, but it gains a little bit of ground towards half forward. Good ground ball from Riley. Needed to give the hand pass to O'Sullivan. Didn't. And as a result now, she's caught holding the ball. Clarkson wrapped her up. I reckon Clarkson knew Riley's game plan there. Realised she probably wouldn't give the hand pass. and stayed involved with the tackle. Now that's a free kick, just trying to hand the ball over to a teammate. And Gomes will get the free kick for the Sharks on the wing. It's a 5-point advantage to East Fremantle. Gomes' kick just about 5 metres too long for a teammate. Coming in off half-back, the Bulldogs able to repel. Kick from Hunt. Goes to her opposing number 4, and O'Donnell has it. Gives it away to Seth. A little hand pass back to O'Donnell. Towards Rue. That standing leap gets good ground. She's come down and she's a bit sore. Hopefully she's okay. Meanwhile, play goes on behind her. Out the back is a chance here for Brown. She's pushed off the footy. East Fremantle still can't generate a shot on goal. Riley with a good tackle this time. Brown gets another opportunity. Snaps it towards the goal square, and that's a good mark. Deep in defence for South Fremantle, being taken by Sheridan Cowald.
Cowald's kick long to the line, looking for a teammate in dirt. The mark is taken beautifully by Gomes. Immediately faces the open side of the ground. Kicks towards O'Sullivan, and admits O'Sullivan as the ball 40 metres out on a right footer's angle.
So what do you do now if you're South Fremantle defender?
I think I'd go 1v1 across the ground. Seth is actually streaming in ahead of WAFLW. But I think Gabby O'Sullivan, Mitz, I think as everyone's calling her at Fremantle, is able to get the distance from here. A little closer than her last shot. Foot strike is nice. It's just fading a little. Something for the forwards. Can't quite pull it down. And the defenders will scramble towards the line again. Is that Kanikoza? Ball goes out on the far side, but it's inside 50. No, it's not. It's actually gone outside 50. So, resultant free kick in the hands of East Fremantle.
So the Sharks again want a centre. Dangerous kick, and Strom was awake to it. Pinched it from in front of O'Donnell. Slow movement inside, but it's okay to Roden Zimdale. And now South, if they can be clever with their ball use, have got a lot of space to work into. The switch is on to Stockwell. Now someone needs to break into space for her. She pokes a kick over the top looking for Huggett. Just a little bit too much on it, but she takes it and takes them on. Gets rid of one. Hand pass across. Here's the speedster to Hakarina with a bounce. She's got Seth in front of her. Dodges one way and then the other. Seth did well. Rounded her up nicely. Forced the hand pass. They've still got it into dangerous position. There's some holding. And a free kick to South Fremantle. We'll go to WAFLW. Down at full forward. And Lauren WAFLW will go back and have a shot.
Hats off to Zoe Huggett. Lovely ball in from Stockwell, but Huggett just pinned the ears back and put the head down. And no one was going to hold her up before she got a good ball, good pressure ball in towards Takarona.
So Lauren WAFLW off a step, literally. Gee, you'd like to see her go back and get a bit of momentum up with that kick. She's pulled it away to the left as the band starts up in the pub behind us, Dex.
Synagogue. Also, Jackie Shorts as a forward coach, has been working with Lauren WAFLW, so we can have a talk to Shortsy about her routine. Messy ball in's okay, made it look good by Gomes, who makes a great decision. Little kick there, shows a fair bit of it to South Fremantle. Deep inside there, or shallow forward 50, but one little toe in there, and East Fremantle are under pressure. Meanwhile, Seth's able to, or Seth senses the danger and clears this ball towards Rue. Rue clean hands. Steps inside one, smothered on the attempted kick. The back feed's really good from South Fremantle. South Fremantle lifted their tempo a little bit. The catch is taken very neatly out there by Cowald. Cowald in the pink boots. Ball in, looking for Huggett, who finds front spot and takes a neat catch in front of her face against her former East Fremantle teammate in Philippa Seth. Huggett doesn't think she's got the distance here. She's having a little look for what's being presented. Gets a run towards this, and it's a really good smother in the end from East Fremantle. Pulls that ball down, falling over in front of it instead of walking through with it. The defenders will pile on, and we'll get a ball up again.
It's almost a bit of mood music, isn't it?
It is.
The ball up 50 out from goal. South have found something in the last few minutes. Clarkson does well, attacking that ball nicely. Getting away through. In fact, it's not Clarkson, it's Holtz. Deep into the pocket. Can they find a mark? The attempt from Strom was good, but watching her pretty closely there, Larissa Versace. She's played every game since WAFLW has started for East Fremantle. She's up there with Emily Maguire and Lauren Osborne as the game leaders since WAFLW began. The boundary throw in. Virtually tossed back into the hot spot. Mim Strom is there, beaten to it by her opponent. She follows up pretty well, and Seth's good enough to work it back to the boundary line. But Mim Strom's probably just about the best ruck in the WAFLW to have in this position, right in front of goal, Degs.
She is. I was just admiring Philippa Seth's just her professional attitude towards football. She just seems to do everything right. You're correct. Strom's dangerous in this situation. She does hold that position really well. Actually carries over the back in the end. The snap comes from a different opponent. It falls in the hands of Stockwell. Usually good in this situation. Stockwell's foot to shin ratio was perfect. And the South Fremantle Bulldogs are in front here at Fremantle Oval in the Derby. The Sharkies just fall behind despite dominating the forward 50 entries and time in forward half. Just the intensity at the moment for the Bulldogs lifted, and it's too much. Stockwell makes a lot from little.
Well, you mentioned before she only needs a couple of 100 metres to kick 5 or 6 goals. She only had to go about 10 metres for that one. She's so dangerous. There's not too many players that have the goal sense that she has. And you'll see a lot of this. Just a gentle jog back to the goal square after kicking a goal. And she'll be pretty happy with herself. Probably won't see a smile on her face, but I reckon she'll be loving it inside. And South have the lead.
Just the surge mentality from South into the forward 50 has been really good in the last 10 minutes.
So Warden Holston in the ruck again. Through comes Holtz. Straightens up nicely. There's space for her to work into. Kicks long. Strom is there. Up comes Stockwell as well. Will she leave it for a teammate in Dirk? Dirk can't quite pick up the ball cleanly. Just forces a hand pass forward. I'd be happy with a stoppage again here if they can get it out of play. Dirk did nicely. O'Donnell tackled again by Wakefer. And the umpire decides to call for a ball up.
You give Wakefer the tick there because she actually tackled her into play, so she couldn't fumble that ball over the line. Keeps it alive for the Bulldogs.
Throw in. Strom wants to take it out of the ruck this time. Now becomes the tackler. East Fremantle through Trippy. Just holding onto the footy. Retaining possession and forcing a stoppage. Out comes Prentice this time. Well tackled. Ball comes free. Strom becomes the tackler this time. Great work from South Fremantle. Repeat stoppages, and we know what that often results in.
Wakefer and Strom in forward 50. Good numbers here. Stockwell pushing and shoving. Can't quite get a hold of this footy. Gabby O'Sullivan just trying to get that ball clear by any means necessary. Swarming on the footy now in the Derby. The Sharks and the Bulldogs. Ward just slipping. Gives Olsen the ruck tap. Trying to dance through Spencer. She gives it to Seth. Spencer looked dangerous just for a moment there. Rue ahead of the ball. Cuts inside like she likes to do. It's a good ball in. Taken on the run. Connection forward towards Riley. It goes over her, hits Spark on the foot. Rebounds to Higgins, who's caught in a tackle from Brown. Holding the ball. And Rosie Walsh is the only East Fremantle player forward of the ball. Trying to take advantage and not being allowed to was Chloe Riley. Very clever in this situation. It's actually Inglis Hodge again. Good tackle. Another professional footballer. Long ball in, suits Vaughan Taylor. Can't quite finish the mark. Flashing through is Holtz. Gets her kick now. No representation in front of the footy here except for East Fremantle. And Philippa Seth has the ball and can reset. It's led Mimstrom to the ball on that occasion. Switches okay towards Bet. She assesses as Zoe Huggett comes to press. Looks for the corridor. She's bitten off a bit more than she can chew at the moment. Gabby O'Sullivan again. Gomes through her hands. Spencer. 3-on-1 again. She's on the floor of the pack as the siren goes. And the South Fremantle Bulldogs have fought it out hard enough because Sharkies looked like they were going to go to coast. They're good at that. They're able to delay and deny East Fremantle for long enough to secure a lead going into half-time in the Derby.
The Dogs by 2 points. Goals to Huggett and Stockwell in that second quarter. East Fremantle still just the one goal on the board. That was Steph Sparks' goal 4 minutes into the game. But East Fremantle kicked 3 behinds in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the term. Really should have done better in that period of the game. But it's been South Fremantle since then. And as a result, the Dogs lead it by 2 points at half-time. It's the Derby for WAFLW. Second time they've met this year. And South Fremantle looking for their first ever victory at this level of football. They lead it by 2 points at half-time on your live stream thanks to Front Row Screens. We'll be back to chat about the first half after these messages.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple. Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Down here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Fremantle Oval, and there's the scoreboard telling you the story of the first half. The Sharks with 6 scoring shots to 3. But South Fremantle with 2 goals to end the second quarter have the lead at half-time by 2 points, 2-1-13, playing East Fremantle 1-5-11. The Dogs looking for their first victory at this level, and at the moment they have a 2-point advantage thanks to Poppy Stockwell and Zoe Huggett. They kick goals in the second quarter. Steph Spark kicked a goal in the first, as there's a youngster out there who's just going to tell Dad, this is what I'm going to do, I'll kick a drop kick. Put it in space and Dad might give him back. Yeah, go for a run. Why not? It is Mother's Day. There's Dad and son enjoying themselves as we watch some of the highlights here, Dex, from the first half. And
I was hoping we'd just continue to pan down, because a couple of people having a snack on the far side, but then one of the trainers for East Fremantle is eating a bowl of cereal in the dugout for the entire time. We've been waiting since the game finished. The highlights correct. Steph Spark getting the one and only for East Fremantle in the first quarter. Stepping inside there, Dirk, we've liked her. I've said that a couple of times. Roxy Rue, it's nice to see her playing her trade. Had a little lay on the ground after a jump, maybe trying to express that she felt she'd been tunnelled, and there she is, the turn of space a couple of times on screen. So yeah, I guess it's a matter of, in the end, probably a goal-saving tackle there from Mim Strom. I guess there's a couple of stars from East Fremantle that can kick this game off. There's a couple of young stars for South Fremantle. If they're going to win, they're going to have to get their hands on it. I think we just said off air, it was Tuakarana, his turn of pace can actually change the game. I think Holtz is really having an effect on proceedings, particularly towards the end of that quarter. And then, of course, Poppy Stockwell in the front end, just so clean, such a clean finisher. So Huggett, a dangerous forward, leading goal scorer, of course. She's been kicking a number of goals in the WAFL competition. It's great to see her back in the WAFLW competition. Though East Fremantle, pound for pound, would rate themselves to come out after half-time with a bit of structure and just control the ball and just put the scoreboard pressure on.
It'd be interesting to know what's going on in the rooms in East Fremantle at the moment, because it's such an experienced club, maybe not so much with their lineup they've got here today. It's a different looking team to what we've seen over recent years, but they would not be used to being in this sort of position, and it's something that's happened too much for them this year. So how they handle things from this point, you do have those experienced players like a Gabby O'Sullivan and Phil Seth on screen there that you'd think should be able to calm them down, and it'll only take 5 or 10 minutes of good football. They should be able to break it open, but there'd be some doubts in their minds because this season just hasn't gone to plan.
Well, I think the temptation is to leave the work for those gun players to do, and of course that's not what Philippa Seth and Gabby O'Sullivan are here. They're here to express themselves and to keep their touch and finesse going. They're not here to dominate games and win games on behalf of other people. So they probably need a little bit of help. See a formally dressed cowboy out there with is that a fairy princess here on Mother's Day? Coming from a party, perhaps.
Oh, he's going to go the trip.
He had a vest on earlier.
And a cowboy hat.
Barefoot, velvet pant, 40-metre kick for goal. Not bad at all. Just waiting for that ball to come back. Don't recognise that young lady. Usually we know most of the players out on the ground. at half time. Must be able to pick up that ball too, Dad.
Yep, it's time.
Like that.
Thanks to Kia. Let's take a look at the work the WA Female State Academy coach Bo McDonald has been conducting to strengthen the talent pathway for female football in WA.
Yeah.
I suppose I developed my love for football when I was very young. I grew up in a sporting family. The girls went to netball on Saturday and the boys went down to Bassendean Oval and we watched Swan Districts. My uncle's a Gary Sidebottom. He played over 100 games at Swan Districts. My pop Wally Sidebottom played state football and also for Swan Districts. I didn't play football till year 12 at the Upper Swan Junior Footy Club. I went down there in year 12 and played in the under 18s, and I found myself at Swan Districts Colts the next year, and then the year after that I was lucky enough to make it to the Brisbane Lions. In 2001, I think to be part of history was fantastic. I really remember getting a handball out to Bossy when he's kicked that goal from the boundary line, and I remember pushing over the contest. I think John Barnes was my opponent. When I seen Bossy flash past, I remember giving him the handball and sort of folding him behind him, and I was directly behind him. He's kicked the ball and it's just gone through, and I remember running back to the centre thinking, this isn't over. This is such a good football team we're playing against. There was no room to relax until that siren went.
And they've beaten the chance.
When I retired in 2008, I spent some time at the Brisbane Lions, assistant coaching role, worked behind the scenes in some welfare roles and some ruck coaching. I was there for 3 years, but then I moved to the Pilbara. I worked with young Indigenous males up there, trying to get them to go to school and helping them out with their lives. And then I got the opportunity to coach the North West Academy through the West Australian Football Commission, and I started to really enjoy coaching that young group, and I felt like I have a responsibility to give kids the opportunity that I had. I enjoyed my time coaching in the country, but getting back into high performance was what I really wanted to do, and the opportunity was there in female football. And I moved down to Perth to be involved in the female talent pathway, to coach under 18 state girls.
Bo's application really stood out to us because of his experience in the coaching world. So it wasn't so much that he'd played AFL, in fact that's limited to it. It's his ability to connect one-on-one with people. He knew what it took to play and coach at the highest level. He'd worked at community level in Aboriginal and community engagement, so we knew he was the right package to move a group of people from where they were to where they needed to be.
The girls are, they're a joy to coach. We're really just there to give them the best opportunity, that if you get that call up to the AFLW, you can do your best when you get there.
He understands that each player needs to make their own progressions. So what drives him forward is driving a player forward. His ability to move a player with their understandings through the developmental stages and pathways would be his best attribute. We're really lucky to have support of fantastic sponsors like Kia, because they allow us to drive the game forward. Bo's been able to really drive female football, and our staff love driving the Kia cars. We've got staff that have since bought their own Kia cars as well, which is terrific. To have Kia as a sponsor to allow us to cart our people, our equipment, and to basically power and drive what we're doing inside female football is terrific.
We're trying to drive a culture here within our academy group. We also want to produce WAFLW players and good community members and people that go back and give in some way to the community. And let the girls know that whether they go on in their football or they go into a workplace, all these things that we're trying to instill in our culture here, they're transferable to the next place that you go, and it's just all part of being a good person.
Umpires making their way back out onto Fremantle Community Bank Oval, as the spectators that are here have enjoyed themselves out on the ground, having a kick in the sunshine. South Fremantle lead it by 2 points here. The other two games, Claremont now lead against Subiaco at half-time, 2-6 to 1-4 at Revo Fitness Stadium. And the top of the table, Swannies, well, they only lead by a point now against Peel. 3-3 plays 3-2 down at Steel Blue Oval, as they look to protect their unbeaten record to this point. It's 2 points the difference here. South Fremantle searching for their first victory in club history for WAFLW. And at this stage, they've got their noses in front of their arch rivals, East Fremantle. All the third quarter action coming up here on front row screens.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
2, 1, go!
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
The Bulldogs going through their preparations ahead of the third quarter. They lead it by 2 points. And there's Mim Strom, who's been an important player for them. Great to see her here at WAFLW level. Saw her play for Swan Districts, of course, a couple of years ago on her way towards AFLW. Always been a South Fremantle player, though. Just didn't have the opportunity to play WAFLW for South Fremantle at that time. But now that their club is established in this competition, she's back at home and playing some good footy. Dave Lindsay and Clint Degebright, your commentary team. Poppy Stockwell down there doing some stretching. She's kicked one goal and they lead it by 2 points. What have you thought of Mim Strom's game so far, Dex? We've mentioned during the call that some of these AFLW listed players coming back to WAFLW being asked to play in some positions that we don't normally see them play in AFLW, which is obviously great for their development. I think Mim Strom has shown a bit centre forward, centre back.
Yeah, she's really led up the ground really well. A couple of connections where the surge kick forward, Mim Strom was able to get the chest under the footy as she comes streaming up the ground. So that's good signs for her as a young development player. I'd suggest if I was coaching the team now, I'd have Mim Strom in the ruck. And I think the Fremantle Dockers would be just fine with that, unless she's carrying some kind of injury. Dockers are really good with the WAFLW clubs. They sort of say this is where we'd like to see the players play, give them a couple of different positions, and then Trent usually understands coaching, says, you know, when you have to win the game at the end, you can put them where you like to put them. So pretty open communication between both of our AFLW clubs.
East Fremantle very late back out onto the ground. We've had the warning sirens going off. Normally give the 2 minute and the 1 minute. And I reckon we've just had the 1 minute just there. So South Fremantle have been out doing their warm-ups for quite some time. They've been in this huddle for a good minute or so as well. So obviously some last-minute instructions for East Fremantle.
This looks like just a yarn in this little huddle here. A couple of smirks, a couple of smiles. South Fremantle girls now looking for the East Fremantle team. Nothing wrong with going and setting up.
Questioning whether they've come out too early, but no, the Sharks still not back out here. And I think one of the umpires did make his way across to give the old hurry-up whistle that you often see in junior footy when the junior coach just gets a bit of rhythm up with his talk. Keeps going a little bit too long. Well, something similar is happening in the East Fremantle rooms at the moment. They're finally making their way back out, led by Ashley Gomes as they go across the zebra crossing, which during the break, Degs, we nearly saw something that could have been quite serious.
Well, just we were hearing a little bit from Kia with Bo McDonald, and Gabby Simmons, the umpire, had forgotten something from the umpire's room, and she came tearing across the crosswalk and nearly tipped a Kia on its side.
Oh, it could have been carnage for that Kia, because I don't think Gabby would have been stopped by the car on the way through.
She had a big smile on her face afterwards, and I think a couple of frightened passengers in the car nearly had an umpire-sized smear on the side of the car as she tore across ground here at or the car park here at South Fremantle Oval.
It is unusual, isn't it? We're used to country footy grounds having the cars parked around the outer side of the ground, not normally on the members' grandstand sort of side, but here at Freo, the road does run between the change rooms and the oval itself, and it's a wonder that something hasn't happened before. But no damage done. Gabby sidestepped the car as it came flying through.
She had good brakes.
So South Fremantle sitting on a 2-point lead. What would you like to see them do here in the third quarter, Degs, to set themselves up for their first victory?
Well, interestingly, it looks like Wakefa's in the middle as a midfielder. Ward taking the ruck. So there's some sure sort of ball handlers in and around the seat at the moment. Spencer's gone on the footy as well with Dirk. So I think they've done what they should be doing here, Reg.
And Mimstrom's lining up at centre half forward as well. So they've got a tall target down there. And they'll get a repeat stoppage in the middle. And there's a good tackle was applied by Dirk on Wong. They get the ball back to Gabby Simmons, who doesn't waste any time. Ward palms it down. Free kick for a hold, and she will be the recipient. She's been a good worker in the ruck so far today. Had a bit of support from Cowald and also Strom at times. The kick goes in the Strom direction, bounces in front of her. Versace taps it initially and then sockers it cleverly towards Gomes, who was clean bowled. Straight between the legs. Luckily, there's some support. O'Sullivan's hand pass backwards to Seth, who spins out of a tackle. Gets a good shepherd as well. And kicks into a dangerous position, but it works well. And Maddie Ross, as always, up on her toes, takes that mark, comes inside towards O'Sullivan. Decides to give it back towards Ross. From right in the middle of the ground. Ugly looking kick off the boot, but it's worked nicely. And taken by Brown. So Brown at centre half forward now for East Fremantle. A little bit of space for Walsh to work into. Kick goes in that direction. Ross has run on, just overruns the football. Roxy's gone straight up and down on the spot with this kick. You've got to stand underneath it and take it. Templeman did okay. Don't think it would have travelled the 15 to be paid a mark anyway if she had have held on. And now East Fremantle will get a stoppage inside their attacking 50 as they look for their first goal since the 4-minute mark of the first quarter.
Yeah, Southman a little wasted forward 50 entry, a little stationary in front of the ball. The Huggett comes at the seed now. Doesn't quite get through her. Trippy misses it. And Versace puts it deep inside 50. Rue floats across the front. Can't quite the catch. It's in the hands of Maddie Ross again. Very busy in the first part of this third quarter. As you said, always on her toes. She actually likes those references too, just quietly. A little message from her during the week. Very busy footballer. Very handy too. Not sure she always believed how good she was, but she's certainly been very good this season. And last, Huggett, as she goes to her knees, releases the ball towards Spencer. Strom forced to watch just as this ball goes through. Versace doesn't watch. She comes through the other way, kicks the ball. Vaughan Taylor takes this one. Gabby Sullivan takes her. It's thrown free in the tackle. Gabby Sullivan plays on from in front of the ball. Long kick towards the goal square. It's with Spark now being tackled well down there by Byrne. Picked up in the pocket. Rosie Walsh has an impact as a defensive tackle. And eventually Byrne falls on the East Fremantle player trying to burst away. We've got another ball up. Spark last up. A couple of little niggles there, I reckon, from a series of tackles. A couple of corks.
Sheridan Cowald in the ruck this time. Rosie Walsh closely watching her. Clearing kick comes from Cowald. Gets it outside the 50, or not quite. There'll be a ball going East Fremantle's way here. It'll be Seth. A little bit too far out for her to score. So off a step, she guides it towards Walsh, stretching. Got good hands to the football. Couldn't finish it off, and now stands up in the tackle. And we'll see another ball up. So East Fremantle have gone nearly 2 quarters without kicking a goal. Walsh in the ruck, nicely into some space. On the fly going past is Sanders. Hunt opposed to her. O'Sullivan wants to come back through the traffic. Sanders there again. She's caught. Gets it out. Wong does nicely. Out in front of Brown. Wasn't a good bounce for Brown. Clarkson paddles it back towards the goal. In the end, it's no damage done because she was being held without the football. And Ebony Clarkson, who played a good first quarter, and she's holding up well in defence again, has it in the right back pocket. This kick is nicely weighted. And a mark on the fly being taken here for South Fremantle. By Spencer, is it?
Yes, it is Spencer.
Spencer. That one doesn't spin nicely off her boot, but Strom makes it good, taking it right half back.
Strom now, promising build. Just have to connect here with Huggett. Crashes the pack nicely. First to recover, East Fremantle pressure comes from South. Roden Zimdale tries to handball over the top. It's been volleyballed back towards the line. Ward working hard on that line and sees the ball over. Frustrated Ward. Wanted to get that one clean. It's not your effort, mate, that's for sure. Solid against a couple of East Fremantle players there. Alston and Ward throw or favour Alston. She's first there, takes it on the chest or attempts to. Fumbles it towards teammates now. East Fremantle have the numbers. Sanders, she's set upon. Another ball up. Did it again, Reg. That's Alston. Should be able to tell by boot colour by now. Two players in the thick of things mostly. Lovely work by Wakefa around the back, basketball style. Of course, she's a netballer. Saatchi's able to chop that off. Nice ball in. Rue. Up. Proud-chested. Takes the catch. Just waiting for things to settle ahead here. Fremantle streaming down in numbers. Confused things, if anything. She tries to have a little connection with Wong. It does slip through to her in the end. Little handball's okay. Riley. She steps inside and feeds Brown. Naja Brown runs into open goal. And I can just tell from the look of her, look on her face and the way she threw her hands up, that she didn't get that where she wanted. She's gone across the goals, unfortunately. But nice little play from Naja Brown.
Really good to see Riley give the hand pass there as well. And probably noticed her in that second quarter. Should have given one to O'Sullivan and got caught holding the ball, but this time dished it off, generated a score. That's a good kick back into play. Roden Zimdale on the end of that. She also wants to hug the boundary with a kick, and it's effective to Ella Higgins. Higgins has played every game this year for South Fremantle. A two-handed ball drop, guides it towards Tahakarana, attacks it in the air, couldn't take the mark. O'Sullivan's away with some dash. Just got her footwork confused here on the kicking, but she follows up. That's a better strike of the football, sends it straight towards the goals and hits the post. And O'Sullivan just clipping the inside of the goal post. Not surprising from O'Sullivan to give 2 or 3 efforts in the same passage of play. Scores are level. East Fremantle have had 8 scoring shots. South have had 3, but we're locked away at 13.
Just time for some defensive transition now. As Casey Byrne has a bounce. This is a good play. Rosie Walsh comes to pressure her. Byrne has a second bounce. They're outside of the 50 now, long over the top. Kanakosa has to come and do some work, but she can't beat Sharon Wong. Takes it on the chest. Work rates are supremely admirable from Wong. Ball in. Roxy Rue comes up and takes a neat mark in front of Vaughan Taylor. Rue's got a penetrating right foot. She's also very accurate, so she can drop this in the square or she can lace someone out. This one doesn't hit her foot as well as she wants to. Rosie Walsh could have done more with that, but turning a ball around the corner to take the lead for the Sharks. The small East Fremantle forwards starting to look promising. Who was that?
O'Sullivan.
That was actually O'Sullivan again. So looking dangerous, O'Sullivan. She stepped up her game.
So this is the same as what we saw, Degs, in the second quarter. East Fremantle just owning the football, not able to connect with a goal. Can South make them pay? Swing the ball to the other end again.
Getting distracted by Bleeding Gum Murphy in the background, just making it really wail.
Yeah, he's having a good crack on a Sunday afternoon. O'Sullivan helped over the line, and I thought for a moment that Pia Dirk was going to try to finish her off as well, but she was quite careful in the end, and she might have hurt herself actually.
Yeah, pulled
hard landing.
Pulled the player onto top of herself.
So South might be one short at this stoppage, which is never ideal, and Dirk looks as though she might have even hurt her ankle, struggling to put some weight on her foot. She's outside the boundary line at the moment as this throw-in takes place. It's too big for the players.
Colwood
did well. Big fist after it bounced up and sat up for her to give it the spike forward. And we'll get another ball up on the 50. Dirk is still outside the boundary line, having the trainers look at her ankle. So they're one down, the Bulldogs, and the ball in a dangerous spot. Seth puts it up for Rue. She's got the leap. Had her name written all over that. And that's all you really need to do at times, is just put it in the air near Roxy. There were 2 Bulldogs there, but she had the sit, and we know what she's capable of doing in the air. We also know that kicking from about 45 out shouldn't be beyond her. Hasn't always struck the ball as sweetly as she would have liked so far this afternoon. She's put good effort into every contest. And this kick from about 42 metres out, it's drifting left. Walsh is there on the line, keeps it in play. Not much support for her though. She fights on against a couple of Bulldogs, and then she tugs on the jumper of an opponent. It'll be a free kick to South Fremantle deep in defence. It'll go the way of Ella Higgins, and they're 1 point down, the Dogs.
Higgins looking for Strom, sets her a task, but it carries over her and hits Kanakosa on the chest. Worked hard, saw a lot of Kanakosa early. Something going on ahead of field. Tug of the jumper or something untoward. The ball's in the hands of Wakefa. Lauren Wakefa looking for Huggett. She's got the read of this. She has to finish the catch. She does, and takes a knee. This unfortunately allows East Fremantle to really pour in. On the far side of the ground, here's Spencer. It's a 70-metre kick she's asking Huggett for, though. So sensibly, Huggett lifts it up towards a tall, represented in front of the footy. This ball goes over the line and it bounds in front of Mim Strom. Why wouldn't you look for Strom?
Saw plenty of those leads this morning watching a Year 5 game of footy where kids lead about 85 metres away from the kid who has the football.
It's definitely the right shape from Spencer, just a bit too far.
So the throw in, South Fremantle have worked it forward of centre, probably for the first time this quarter. Cowald with a couple of attempts at knocking that one forward, but O'Sullivan gets in the way again. Kicking to a 1-on-2. Good contest again in the air by Riley for East Fremantle. Vaughan Taylor's wrapped up quickly. She made an attempt early. The Ruse tackle was good, and then Ruse seems up and about in this third quarter. Got to her feet quickly. Wanted to take her position inside the 50-metre arc again. Cowald in the ruck, knocks it down. On the fly, the Sharks through Bet. She's caught, spun a couple of revolutions in the tackle. The umpire decides we'll ball it up again. Cowald jumps again, beaten to it this time. Overrunning it was Templeman. It's a scrappy little passage of play. Wong, in fact, Sprillion it is this time, out the back to Seth. She tries to find some space. Charged down though by Wakefer. Seth comes again and Wakefer applies a very good tackle. I like her on the ball. She's a very feisty competitor. Doesn't mind running into space as well. Fights hard for the footy. Always does a good job.
She tracks the ball well, and it's always good to apply good, strong tackle on AFLW players because they report these things back to their coaches. So Seth will say, this kid tackled me. I couldn't quite get through. You should have a look at her, Mr. Cooper. Meanwhile, Chloe Riley's handball's chopped off by Holtz. Holtz, this is promising. Mim Strom in front of her eyes over O'Donnell. Nothing too much ahead. She's looking for Stockwell, who's got the leg here on her opponent. Takes the chest mark nicely. Gets a little shove in the back, which delays things. Just a touch. Huggett's long. The ball is high. That will suit Huggett. She's on a much smaller opponent in Prentice. Ball loose now. It's actually trippy, my apologies. South Fremantle pushing hard here in the pocket. Can she get some support? She can't. Ball's tied up now. We're going to spend a bit of time, I think, in the forward half here for South Fremantle. It's brilliant not letting that one go.
Gabby was setting up there, wasn't she?
She was. I did see the little bend, and I thought, here we go. She said, play on, play on. Forward pocket.
From the ball up, East Fremantle with the goalkeeper on the line. They've got rid of it, but it's going to come to Cowald. This is Michaela Cowald. And we'll have a shot for goal to put South Fremantle back in front.
She's looked laterally. Yeah. She's not confident.
No, I haven't seen her kicking too often, and from what I've seen of her in her preparation for this shot, I'm not going to put any money down. It's an awkward ball drop, doesn't have the distance. Gets it to a dangerous spot though. Big pack of players. And dashing out of defence, it's Prentice who can clear for East Fremantle. South are set up well behind the ball. And the mark has been taken by Hunt. And put it back in again. Huggett over the top. Good grab. 2 bites. She can make the distance from here. And if she can kick a second Degs, they'll be in front.
She'd mark that and she'd turn and she eyeballed Haley O'Donnell. Zoe Huggett's a lovely young lady. There's no malice, but it's always nice to know when you've taken a good mark on a good opponent.
Doesn't waste too much time. Spinning the ball in her hands. Puts boot to ball, gets under it a little bit, so she won't quite get the journey. Strom is down there. Up in front, there was another pair of hands that got hold of the football. I think it was Wakefer. But it's trickled through for behind, and we're level again. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Haven't seen a goal in this third term. 14 each.
Into Seth. Nice kick in. I think that was trippy. Pressuring the ball was Templeman. It allows Higgins to come in. Higgins just had to take the chest mark. Things are working here for South Fremantle at the moment. She lost the ball, stripped in the end by O'Sullivan. Was Spencer. East Fremantle now trying to work their way out by hand. Caught with the footy here, Georgia Bet. The umpire will be inevitable here. And she's paid a sling. He was going to call hold on the ball, but Templeman finished the tackle. Didn't need to do that. They'd done all the hard work. You're not entitled to throw a player on the ground. You had the free kick. Unfortunate for South Fremantle because they were in the box seat there with the turnover. And this is Bet now. Plays on. Ward behind the footy, flying through Roxy Rowe again. Put down behind the footy there. I'm not sure how much intent was there and how much of an accident that was, but not in a good way here. Templeman takes the resultant free kick behind the play. There's a couple of people attending the ground. Poppy Stockwell jumps up and takes a chest mark, really strong. Don't touch her now, or she plays on very quickly. I'm not sure it was paid. A couple, they didn't know whether they were going to tackle her or not. Ball's over the back now.
Well, that was quite bizarre.
That is bizarre. It looks like O'Donnell's going to be favoured here by the bounce. He paddles along in front of Canacosa. Canacosa pressuring. Wong there as support. Turning up now is Pickett. Wong picks the ball up off the ground and tears away in the end. Running down Pickett just a little too late. It allows the South Fremantle defence to set up. And this is Higgins. Plays on quickly. This is Pickett over here. Shaq gets a good read there. Well done by Gabby O'Sullivan, although she's given a little free kick out for front on contact. Fair enough. Templeman ahead of the footy. Looks like Carly Hunt's work forward. She's starting to have an impact, Carly. Half back. Hunt's kick goes towards Stockwell again. Stockwell doesn't fly this time. She stays down looking for a little touch on the shoulder, and English Hodge is able to get the ball back towards a teammate. They'll be going back in again through Canacosa. Again, Hunt just measures this really well. A little kick doesn't favour anyone in particular. Wong maybe. Sorry, that was brilliant. East Fremantle, really messy play. South Fremantle are going to get a chance to go in again.
Hunt it is. Gives a hand pass away to Ward, and then Ward's hurried kick straight to the chest of Seth. And both teams just missing that final touch with their disposal. Seth has done nicely, gets this one on. Dalton with her kick, turns it over. Templeman now wants to move it on quickly. With the left boot, Huggett stretching, can't finish it off. Stockwell tried to sidestep her opponent, she was caught, lost the football. No free kick. O'Donnell on the way back out. Ward gets across to chop that off. Feeds a hand pass back to Holtz. South just peppering the goal front. Huggett's there again. Stockwell roving at the front. She's wrapped up quickly. We'll see a ball up. 2 minutes to go in this third quarter.
A little case for Mims trying to get on in the back, perhaps, to make the game even more interesting than it already is. She takes this ruck now, taps it down to Stockwell. Stockwell immediately set upon by Hayley O'Donnell. Will get a repeat stoppage. She breaks just after the whistle, unfortunately, for the Bulldogs. Gabby Simmons has a good day today. Gives it to Strom, takes it out of the ruck, smothered beautifully. Looks like Seth down there. She tries to barge her way through. Good tackle. Strom picks up the loose footy. She takes a little bit of time to measure and misses from 15 metres out. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, just got a little wide, but they're pressing.
They've got the lead again inside the last minute and a half of the quarter. As East Fremantle are under the pump. There's all but 3 pairs of players inside this 50-metre arc as Dalton brings it back into play. Kicks for distance. Gomes is there, outsized by Ward. East Fremantle work it okay. They get the clearing kick down the line. Little should get there first. Collects the footy, head down over it. Tackled by 3 Sharks. Strong enough to stand up in it. And we'll see a ball up.
52 seconds is enough seconds for either team to score. Ward in the ruck against Versace. Versace stays down. Reading it beautifully was O'Sullivan. Handball into the corridor to Wong. Wong now can construct. First back is Clarkson. She's off and about too. Enough time still for South Fremantle. Poppy Stockwell on a searching lead. She's left her player behind her a couple of times. Plays on immediately. Long ball in high. The tall timber for the Bulldogs are there. Ball hits the ground. Who will be able to recover first? Pickett arrives. Can she have an impact? No. The Sharks are there in numbers and the back feed's okay. And Seth should be able to kick the relieving ball out for the Sharks, as she does, hits the chest of a teammate on the far side of the ground, and that's enough, you'd think, for the Sharks to just make sure there's no further damage. Although, hang on, the ball's going back in again. Little connection at the top of 50 to Roden Zimdale. She's got 5 seconds to put this in. They need a mark. They've got one in Stockwell. She has to hold. The siren will sound, and Stockwell's got a shot after the siren. And would this put the cat amongst the pigeons for South Fremantle?
If you were in the South Fremantle coaching box, is there any other player on the ground you'd want to have the ball in the hands?
No. I'd be telling some other players to get cramped and give it over to Poppy Stockwell. You see that with the Richmond Football Club, do it all the time. 15
players to lie on the ground.
Just get 15 players to get big hammy cramps. Stockwell definitely got the distance in her leg. Can she have the accuracy? Supremely confident, supremely high-skilled footballer. The kick is on its way. You'll be able to see from the players to see what happens. You would have thought there'd be all kinds of dancing and celebrations had she caught that snagger, so you'd suggest a one behind the score. Poppy Stockwell finished the quarter beautifully for South Fremantle. First part of that quarter, of course, all East Fremantle. The last part, all South Fremantle, much as it's been throughout this game so far.
So we're set up for a massive final quarter. Both teams kicking 3 behinds in that third quarter. We didn't see a goal. East Fremantle haven't kicked a goal since the 4-minute mark of the first quarter. So South Fremantle would be believing right now that they're right in this one and a big chance of securing their first victory in WAFLW football. They lead it by 2 points at 3-quarter time. Massive final quarter coming up here on Front Row Screens.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple. Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
One quarter to go here. South Fremantle might well be 1 quarter away from their first victory in WAFL women's footy.
Just to chop in there, which we promised we wouldn't do, Shakira Pickett's face there, do you think a lot of her school teachers in her younger days would have seen that face before? Doesn't look incredibly engaged there. She's a good kid though, so she definitely will be listening.
She'll be looking for that one moment, won't she, in this last quarter to see whether she can be the one that makes the difference. They lead it by 2 points, South, as they did at half-time as well. It's 2-4-16 to 1-8-14. East Fremantle kicked the first goal of the game. Since then, they've kicked 8 behind. South Fremantle didn't score in the first quarter, but have kicked 2 goals, 4 since then. So a lot of work to be done from the blue and whites, and there'd be some serious doubts in their camp as we look at some of the highlights from the third quarter. Dave Lindsay and Clint Degebrot, your commentary team here this afternoon.
Yeah, Maddie Ross dominated the first part of that quarter, but it was probably Carly Hunt did the same job in the last part of that third stanza. It's been a couple of good things going on, but I think at any stage there's a player that could take the game away. Chloe Riley could take the game off South Fremantle in a minute, and I think, as you said before, Shakira Pickett could do the same. So it just depends on who decides to, I guess, take the shots from the closest. We get a couple of shots from 30 metres out from either side. Small forward's very dangerous, of course. There's some long players too at either end of the ground. Mimstrom and Wakeford doing some marking at the front end, and of course there's Rosie Walsh, who is very clever in the air, and she's okay on the ground too. So Roxy Rui had an impact in that quarter. Might be feeling a little sheepish after collecting someone front on early. Hopefully she can shake that off, as can the player that she struck. In the context of the ball, of course, there was nothing particularly untoward about the action, but sometimes the players feel for each other a little bit. So I guess it's a big roll of the dice now. Who actually wants this the most? It's a footy cliche. Go out there and play for the jumper, which I hope neither of these coaches actually do say.
I'm looking at the scoreboard and I'm checking the online stats here as well. I'd say that behind that was kicked, we thought it was kicked by Poppy Stockwell after the siren, hasn't been counted. Must have been knocked through for a behind, and as a result, it doesn't actually count. So it's only a 1 point margin in the end. 2-3-15 to 1-8-14. Around the grounds, some big games going on elsewhere. Subiaco have reclaimed the lead against Claremont. 3/4 time, they led it by 5 points. It's 3-6, playing 2-7 at Revo Fitness Stadium. And Swans, as they did in the first quarter, got away from Peel in the third quarter. They lead it by 20 points now. 6-5-41 to 3-3-21. So looking at the way those games have gone, there must be a little bit of breeze at the other venues, because it's been dominated by one team in the first and the third quarter, and then it's reversed in the second. So you wouldn't necessarily count out those teams that are trailing at 3/4 time. There's no real breeze to speak of here, though.
Not at all.
Which is unusual for down here in Freo.
You'd expect if there was a breeze around the metro area that there'd be certainly a breeze on the coast. Interestingly, how could you make a front row screens ad better? You've got nitro funny cars, and you've got the off-road races, and you've got the boats in a foot of water, and they add a helicopter to the clip.
Get the chopper in there. It's entertains us every week, doesn't it? The front row screens ad.
It's almost as entertaining as Bleeding Gums Murphy.
At the back here.
Just wailing sad tunes behind us.
I know Matt that puts us to air here. He's often got a spare camera. I wonder if he can get it over in the pub out the back and just see a bit of this Fremantle Sunday session music happening.
Without insulting our producer Matt, is if you're asking him to go to the pub, I reckon the answer would be
he won't come back.
He could manage it. Ball up.
He did tell me he wasn't feeling the best today, so maybe he'll stick with us here at the footy.
He was wearing a mask too. Alston got the tap down, but it's in the hands of South Fremantle through to a Corona. Trying to back out of the pack now is Cowald. And there's a bit of guffawing in our headsets here from the producer's truck as East Fremantle player is slammed down onto the ground in a very hard tackle. Was that Matty Ross? Hope not. Very important player to this part. It's Philippa Seth. Maybe missed that forceful tackle there. Jumping, flying through attempting to fly through the ruck there was Cowald. Ball's in dispute again. Most quarters have started the same with these repeat stoppages. No player there willing to drag that ball in. You can see about 12 hands just pinning it to the ground. The umpire says, I'll ball it up.
So the Dogs by 1. They've never won a game at this level. And if there's ever a team they'd like to beat for their first, it would definitely be the Sharks. Seth running away from the goal she's attacking. Just bundles it on the ground to the wing. It works out okay. At the back is Ross. Can't take the ball with her though. Clarkson's there for South Fremantle. So too Kanakosa, who runs straight into O'Sullivan, who has her covered. And as she so often does, I do like the way Gabby tries to rip the ball out of her opponent's hands. There's not a lot of players that seem awake to that move. She definitely is. The ball's never dead as far as she's concerned. She's always in the contest. It's there again. Kick was smothered. Gomes squeezing a little ball forward. Roden Zimdale wanted someone to give a hand pass off, and in the end used it nicely by foot. Strom on the wing, pokes it towards half forward, coming up to meet the ball there. Dirk, good to see her back out there. Her ankle appeared to be causing her real problems in that quarter. It's back again in this contest. Hand pass chopped off by Prentice. Here's O'Sullivan again onto the loose foot. He wants to take them on. She was caught. Almost throws a hand pass inside. Wong is there. Takes them on again. Feeds it off to Seth. East have worked it out quite nicely. Gomes now to half forward. 2-on-2 contest. At the back is Rue. Off towards Ross. She pokes it over the top. Dalton stretching, takes the mark. Walsh is in the goal square, but that will be shut down pretty quickly.
It's still there.
It's still there. But Dalton's gone back as if she believes she's got this one covered. She is directly in front, 30 out.
So Dalton player earlier in the season, and she did provide a really good forward target, strong marking target. She actually ran through the ball and she kicked it well. So from what I've seen of Dalton, this kick, it would be a soda for her.
Has kicked the ball quite nicely out of goals earlier in this game. This one will go right to the line. It's either a goal or a mark to Walsh. It'll be a mark. And that will be frustrating for South Fremantle to give up a mark right on the line. And Rosie Walsh to put the Sharks back in front.
It all happened right behind that pole with a light on it. It's got a seagull sitting on top of it. I didn't see a thing.
You missed it? You'll have to watch the replay in a moment because Walsh pokes this one through and East Fremantle regain the lead. They lead by 5. It's 2-8 to 2-3. We played 3 minutes in the last quarter and that will just relax some of the nerves in the East Fremantle group.
It was a promising build-up from South Fremantle. They just had to find a little connection by hand, overran the football. And then a couple of classy players got involved in, Sullivan and Rue and Ross and Dalton. And then eventually Dalton's kick falling short, or let's say intendedly spotted up to Rosie Walsh on the line. So Rosie Walsh hasn't had a massive impact on the game today. Just done her club a fantastic service with that one. All the work to be done by South Fremantle. In the ruck here, Ward starting against Alston again. Alston's rucked manfully today, humanfully I should say. Well done, Ward. This time Alston's hand was good. Alston's follow-up's been terrific, and again in this case, and she connects with Ross. Ross started every quarter full of jelly beans. And she goes now, called to play on Clarkson, runs her down. Easy step inside for Ross, and the ball's going long and deep again. Rue has the sit, can't quite get there. She's chopped off. Higgins has the footy for South Fremantle, and she's looking for Templeman to connect. Can't quite catch it. Carly Hunt comes through. Ross again, paddled forward. Looks good for East Fremantle. Little high contact. She was a swinging arm that was ducked, so she did duck. If she didn't, she'd be dead. Looks like Georgia Bet. Too far out to score for Bet. Screaming in space is Riley. Can't quite find her. Floating passes Versace. Called to play on now. Player on the mark doesn't come towards Bet. The kick goes in towards Clarkson. It's flown high at the back of the pack. And the last thing you want if you're a Bulldog is this lady to be catching the ball 30 metres out directly in front.
Do love to see her with some space to run and jump at the footy, Roxy Rue, because she's very exciting in these situations. Outmarks her own teammate this time. I don't think Rosie Walsh will worry too much about that.
Oh, they're both in the paper.
One's a stepladder.
I think that's what... great kick there too from Roxy Rue. Never a doubt in her being able to finish that work from that particular position. She also likes to finish work when she's taken a good catch, and much like Shea Bolton would have been able to say to his stepladder is, congratulations mate, you're on the front page of the paper tomorrow. And Rosie Walsh will be the same, except this time will be a teammate that's sitting on her shoulders. 2 goals in quick succession from East Fremantle. Just fast ball movement, little lane changes and long and deep ball in. It's the way to play footy under pressure.
So I think we'll find out a bit about South Fremantle right now, because they were in the contest at 3/4 time. They're still in it. It's just a matter of whether they believe they are or not. East Fremantle have laid down the challenge to them. The first 5 minutes of this quarter, kicking 2 goals. They need this clearance though, South Fremantle. They won't get it immediately. In fact, they won't get it at all. A high tackle on Wong. And Wong will send East Fremantle forward. Puts it out in front of O'Sullivan. Huggett came across just to run a bit of interference. Now O'Sullivan knocks over Templeman, soccers it cleverly into the path of Sprillian. She's got some space if she can pick this one up. Gets the kick towards the goal square, might go beyond the goal square. Will it go all the way? It's touched on the line. I don't know, the goal umpire's positioning for a goal.
It's a free kick.
Field umpire's going to pay a free kick to Rosie Walsh. On the goal line there, Sheridan Cowell looks a little bit confused. I'm not sure whether maybe Sprillian, was she dealt with after kicking the football, because there didn't appear to be a lot happening on the goal line. But Rosie Walsh is going to kick her second goal. And if you added up the distance of her 2 goals, Deggs, it's less than 10 metres.
Oh, I reckon. It'll be less than 7 metres, I reckon.
So Rosie Walsh kicks 2 in this quarter. Roxy Rue's kicked 1 as well. And East Fremantle, all of a sudden, have a very comfortable 17-point lead. And this is a real shame for the Bulldogs, because they were right in it till 3/4 time. But well done, East Fremantle, who would have had some real doubts about their position at 3/4 time, but they've responded very well.
Turned what was a close game into a game with some serious distance now in terms of goals scored. There have been 6 goals for the match, and 3 of them are in this quarter. All to East Fremantle. Alston again, Ward. Neither side going 1v1 at this stoppage. CBD as it is. Tap from Ward's okay. Doesn't quite get through to her intended target. Trying to drive her legs in the stoppage there was Spencer. She's been good today, Spencer, for South Fremantle. Half back last year. On ball today, I've been impressed. Last to pick herself up again is Seth. Ward, a little tap down. Taking the tackle immediately was a South Fremantle player. This one carries over to Little. Lovely little spin. Intercepted now by Sprillian. She's up and about at the moment. Tackled to the ground. No real decision made either way. She let the ball go, or she held too long. That's okay, play on. Ball into the forward line, Rue. Steps up her pace. A little dish was very good to Sprillian. Sprillian towards Walsh again. Walsh doesn't bother because she sees it sail over her head, and Sprillian has kicked a beauty. East Fremantle, something's happened at 3/4 time. Whatever was said to the players from Shark Park, it's worked. Maybe say that in the first quarter.
I was going to say, the coaching staff will be wondering where this has come from. They're not upset that it has come, but their football they've played in the first 8 minutes of this quarter, it's been quite electrifying.
Some of it's, I think South Fremantle's pressure around the ball's dropped off a little too. So, as you said, we have to find out what South Fremantle are all about. I can't see them laying down, that's for sure. They've battled so well today. I did speak to some of the coaching staff prior to the game, suggesting I want to see how long the midfielders can stay in the game.
So Marnie Alston in the ruck for East Fremantle opposed to Ward. Numbers come in strongly after the ball up.
It was Adrian Ivanovic saying our midfielders are staying in the game longer and longer.
They're certainly in it for 3/4 today. Unfortunately for them, it's been all East Fremantle at the start of this last quarter. Riley gets rid of her opponent, gets on the end of it. She's dangerous from here, bangs it goalward, pushes it slightly right. Good movement again from the Sharks. O'Sullivan's long kick to Riley. but just couldn't quite finish it off. And all of a sudden, this lead is 4 goals when South Fremantle actually led it by a point at 3/4 time.
I guess as a coach of South Fremantle, you start to get worried for your players. Don't deserve to feel bad about themselves today. They played good football. This is a good kick and well chopped off too. Good front end pressure from the Sharks through Chloe Riley. Just knocking that away from Colwell. The Colwell girls have been good today. Seen them play before. Two sisters of that height turn up to your footy club. You rub your hands together. Good future for them and South Fremantle Footy Club. Throw in an East Fremantle's forward 50. Suits Alston. She taps it down towards Wong. Wong will take time to measure this. Back to Gomes. Gomes on the opposite foot, looking to connect ahead of the footy with Riley. Getting there first was Holtz. Handballs over to Templeman's okay. In the way though, or getting bowled in the end, was Seth. Falls into the hands of East Fremantle half-back that's pushed right up the ground.
It's Paisley Prentice, I think that's on.
Prentice is a decent involvements today.
Here's a chance for South, although Dirk was caught very quickly after gaining possession. Now Ward, Alston wrestling with her. Some tired players there just lying on top of each other, begging for the umpire to call the ball up, and they can all just catch their breath for a moment. It's back into action again quickly though. Good tackle from O'Sullivan, and that might be rewarded. No, I thought possibly the umpire would look at Spencer, who took them on, but decided it was all okay. Ward with the ruck tap again. Templeman gaining some ground. Got 2 backpacks on it. Wearing Sharks jumpers.
Rugby league style.
It was, wasn't it? Carrying them closer to the try line. Quite often in this situation you'll see a free kick picked out, and you will here for a Shepherd. Ward trying to leap at the footy. Umpire believes that Alston was more interested in keeping her out of the contest, so they share it with Holtz, and then Holtz's kick down the line's been blocked by Paisley Prentice, who keeps it in. Gives it off to Seth. Tried to use the outside of the boot, got the inside of the boot, and nearly put the ball through the windscreen of one of the cars down there in the front row.
Just as Spencer pressured the kick, I think her knee, Seth's knee went into Spencer's quad. Seth, sensing this discomfort, ripped Spencer up and apologised, and they jogged smiling in front of the ball together. Well done to both players. Nice mark by Chloe Roll in front of Zoe Huggett. Shows how well she reads the football. Promising young player. Really developing into a player that has impacts across full games. Just kick just carries over. Roxy Roosehead is with Byrne now. She gets the handball away to Kowalt. Back towards Little. Little fumbles. It brings Alston into the game. That's actually not Alston again. What happened there?
Eye contact on Sanders, I think.
So Sanders trying to power her legs through that contest and held up. Just confused me. I was looking at the green boots of Alston, the pink boots of Sanders. Plenty going ahead of the ball now. Sanders with the kick. Tends to earn a free kick, Sanders. Tracks the ball well, head and hips and shoulders over the ball at all times. Long ball in. Suits Rue at the back. Does enough. Vaughan Taylor in the front. Just turns towards the line and is probably hoping for this to go out in front of Roden Zimdale. Roden Zimdale. Gabby O'Sullivan. The far side of Fremantle Community Bank Oval. She's joined, well, they're both joined by a couple of friends. Just to slow this right up now as this game starts to grind a little. This will be a ball up inside East Fremantle's 450. City side.
Just 5 minutes to go. East Fremantle on their way to their 3rd victory of the season. It didn't necessarily look that way for much of the afternoon, but a big start to this last quarter has put them now in the driving seat as Huggett gets distance on the kick. So played a pretty good game, Zoe Huggett. Standing up in that tackle was Sky Prentice. O'Donnell on hands and knees. Diving in over the top is Seth, who I reckon Deggs kept East Fremantle in the game for the first 3 quarters. She's been an excellent contributor yet again. Don't think I've seen her play a bad game at this level.
No, she just does the right thing at the right time, Seth. She's a coach's dream.
Comes through there. This time, ball just bobbled out of her grasp. Paisley Prentice pulled by the pigtail. Zoe Huggett just grabbed a piece of the pigtail there as she got the kick away. And now it's going to come to Sharon Wong, who guides a kick inside, hoping for Alston. It was knocked away from her. Roden Zimdale had it ripped out of her hands by O'Sullivan, and Roden Zimdale did it back to her. Good little one-on-one contest on that occasion. Huggett takes out her opponent there again and then gets a shove from behind by Sanders. So they're into Huggett now. Chance for Canacosa. That was shut down very quickly. Good tackle from Alston. Sanders is there. Tackled by Dirk. Ball comes out. Pickett does nicely that time, fending off. The kick goes up and down pretty much on the same spot. Through comes Cowald off towards Wakefer. She's caught. Gives it back to Cowald and says, you better deal with this one. Tahaka Reiner wants to work her way through traffic. Coughs the footy up to Wong though. And East Fremantle can reload and send it forward. Dalton makes a good contest. And the other way is Byrne, who stands up pretty well. Hacks it forward. Now a chance for Wong towards Gomes.
Gomes' kick towards Rue. She's got Tash Vaughan-Taylor for company. Tash Vaughan-Taylor takes that ball, instantly tackled by Rue, and just let it go in the tackle.
Just about kick this, Roxy.
She can. Someone's got a bit of blood on them though, and it's Roxy. So she's going to have to hand this over to Gomes. She's actually searching for someone to give it to.
Phil Seth's walking in from 20 metres away saying, oh, I'll take it.
She looked at Gomesy, who is a decent field kick in terms of her accuracy, but doesn't kick it very long. Oliver Seth was lurking, and Roxanne Rue was just going through the list of cards that she wanted to be dealt in that situation for Gabby Simmons. Umpire Gabby Simmons said, no, just give it please. Carly Hunt on the mark. Gabby Sullivan just trying to work Spencer into the 10-metre protected circle for a 50 here. Called to play on. She steps inside. Carly Hunt holds the tackle, and that's holding the ball. Just a bit of pressure of distance and some good defensive setups behind the footy, in front of the footy by the South Fremantle Bulldogs provide this opportunity towards Dirk. It carries her. O'Donnell goes through her hand too. Dirk first to recover. It's wrapped up by O'Donnell, and we'll get yet another ball up.
So just a couple of minutes left in it. East Fremantle have come down to Fremantle Community Bank Oval, and for the third time in these derbies we'll have a win. This has been the closest of the derbies though, and South, if they can extend the pressure they applied for 3 quarters out towards 4, they will score themselves a win before the end of the year. It's a promising first 3 quarters from them. But unfortunately just dropping away early in this last quarter, and it's opened the door for the Sharks to take away a victory. Wong, always working hard, never lets her side down. She was tackled high according to the umpire, and we'll see a free kick paid. It's just the 2 field umpires out there. I thought we had 3 earlier, Dex. We might have lost one along the way today. Strom back into defence to help out now. Gives a hand pass away to Clarkson, and she'll clear the area. Canacosa at the back needs to fly. She can't get over the top of Sanders, and Sanders can set things up again for the Sharks, perhaps for one more score.
Inglis Hodge has gone to the dangerous Stockwell too. It might have had something to say with this game as well, with her close checking defence. Ball not taken. A high ball not taken, that is, from Hunt. Swung around twice, gets the handball to Spencer. Spencer's immediately tackled, fully wrapped up and put on the ground. Spencer was the unlucky recipient of a handball no one else really wanted. She's felt that one too.
Been in that position a couple of times today.
She's had a couple of knocks in the last couple of minutes to finish what is a good game. We need the ice bath as Templeton finds her way through. Unfortunately, it's O'Donnell on the lead and can play on and create, but she decides to hold up. Now she plays on. Long ball in, looking for Dalton, chopping that off. Taylor, nearly a good mark going through, or trying to go through, was Riley. She's been really threatening in this last quarter with some more ball inside forward 50, but she's wrapped up beautifully by Byrne. There's 3 seconds left in this game, so we've seen all we're going to see. Maybe one of the players just gets an extra stat with a hit out. And before Sprillian can add to her tally today, the siren beats her. It's been an entertaining 3 quarters before East Fremantle really broke shackles and probably did what they were promising to do early in the first, which was to actually finish their good work. Have a look at the scoreboard. Of course, the scoring shots really do favour. 14 scoring shots to 5. South Fremantle's accuracy flattered them greatly, but their intent was good.
Well, no score for South in the first quarter or the last quarter, so you don't win too many games of footy when that's the case. Good to see Michaela Tahaka-Reiner and Chloe Riley just come together there. A couple of teammates from the State 19s a couple of weeks ago had a good smile and a shake of the hand. And there is Kate Inglis-Hodge. You mentioned, Degs, that she had the job on Stockwell in the last quarter after Poppy threatened to really break the game open throughout the second and third quarters. But East Fremantle would be very relieved with that victory.
So Inglis-Hodge really does know some of these players, of course, because she works down here for the Stephen Michael Foundation.
Correct.
So spends a bit of time down here at Fremantle Community Bank Oval, and you can see the players that she works within the Stephen Michael Foundation. Still plies her trade at the Sharks, where she was born and bred, and of course Dad on the coaching panel too. It'd be hard to dislodge Inglis Hodge from the Sharks' plans.
So East Fremantle, Steph Spark kicked a goal in the first quarter, then they didn't kick another one until the final quarter when Rosie Walsh kicked a couple, Roxy Rue and Sprillian, a fine goal from Cara during that last quarter, while for South Fremantle their goals came through Huggett and Stockwell, both in the second quarter. So the Derby has gone East Fremantle's way for a third time, twice this year and once last year, but the Bulldogs are getting closer each time. And I do believe, Diggs, if they can maintain what we saw for 3 quarters today and push it into the fourth quarter, then there is still an opportunity for them to chalk up their first win before the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think some of these players are really taking a step. I think Spencer's becoming a high-quality league footballer. Clarkson looks to be at level. Poppy Stockwell has been at level for a number of years. It's just a matter of getting her free enough from her cricket commitments to play. And, of course, the summer program hasn't helped her. Shakira Pickett's a league player. Carly Hunt's has worked in. WAFLW's going to get better and better as a 16-year-old. Tuakaraina's 18-year-old first year of footy.
Throw in a Lucy Gilchrist and Ash Reedy, and this team becomes a bit more dangerous as well.
Of course, South Fremantle skipper not playing today, so she's always handy for a couple of possessions in the middle too. Plenty to like. Zoe Huggett's really turned into a fierce front-end leader for the South Fremantle Football Club, and I think she gives the girls confidence to go forwards. It's just a matter of, as you said, maintaining that effort across 4 full quarters. So then some of the girls are going into their third pre-season too, which will help in 2022.
The question for East Fremantle now is, can they find that form that we saw in the last quarter and put that into action for 4 quarters? Because if they do, they can challenge the teams that are above them on the ladder and really threaten, and even within finals could threaten. I know they're not going to finish top 2 this year. They're going to have to do it the hard way if they do sneak into the finals. But with Roxy Rue, Gabby O'Sullivan, Phil Seth there, and then some good youngsters around as well, then Subiaco will look over their shoulders. Claremont will do the same as well.
On paper, East Fremantle being one of the best sides, sort of player for player in the last 5 years, and I really can't explain. Why they're not going better than they are. It's just a matter of a bit of self-belief. I think at different times they don't look like they've got full faith in what they're doing, but I tell you what, all you have to do is watch that last quarter and highlight and say this is us, and they've got a chance to actually pinch 4th spot and have an impact on the finals.
The bad news for East Fremantle today is that Subiaco have won. Subi have beaten Claremont by 11 points, 4-6 to 2-7. Claremont only kicked 1 point after half time, so that keeps Subiaco in the hunt to knock off Claremont in 3rd spot, and it also just keeps East Fremantle at bay as well. And Swans have held on to beat Peel by 1 point, 6-6 to 6-5. Here's the Sharks song. So very relieved and very happy East Fremantle team. A couple of players there celebrating their first victory, getting absolutely drenched with the water. And it's not a bad way to celebrate your first victory. East Fremantle.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Much better to be drenched with water in February, March, April, May than it is in July and August.
So some of the highlights from this performance from East Fremantle today, and it did take them into the last quarter before they could really click into gear. But once they finally did, they put some distance between themselves and South Fremantle. The Bulldogs were gallant. They played a very solid first 3 quarters. Even the first quarter where they didn't manage to score, they still were very competitive. Unfortunately, the little drop away that you often see with young and inexperienced teams happened early in the last quarter. So the Sharks, as a result, get win number 3 of the season. Their second win against South. They've also got a win against Subiaco, and their match-up with Subiaco next week in the rescheduled fixtures will go a long way to deciding who finishes in 4th place this year. Phil Seth was important. Roxy Rue, one of the better players on the ground, not surprisingly, took a couple of great marks, kicked a very important goal in the last quarter as well.
And did him when she needed to as well, in terms of, obviously, it's always good to take marks and kick goals, but when East Fremantle were asked a couple of questions, it was Roxanne Rue that really stood up straight and gave them a full target. Mimstrom attempted the same for South Fremantle, just couldn't get quite the service and supply that the East Fremantle forwards got in that last quarter.
I mentioned Phil Seth's game a few times today. Did a fantastic job behind the ball. Gabby O'Sullivan was at her usual sort of pest self, half forward, wrestling opponents, ripping the ball out of their hands, just feisty as always. Probably not as clean as she can be, but she'll find some good form before the end of the year as well.
There's some. There's all these different things that you can sort of say about these different players, but what Gabby O'Sullivan does is she brings energy. She energises contests, she energises the ball. I know it's been overstated in the AFLW in terms of that term energising, but just when she's around, something's happening. She doesn't allow the game to settle or get stale at any stage. Gabby O'Sullivan's such a fantastic player at this level and, of course, at AFLW level for Fremantle as well. So
well done to the Sharks. It took a while, but they finally cracked the game open. They've taken away a 24-point victory over South Fremantle today, 5-9-39 to 2-3-15. Great work, Degs. We'll be back here on Front Row Screens with another WAFLW game next week. And we wish all the mums out there a great afternoon here on Mother's Day. Well done to the Sharks, winners by 24 points.
This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.